Hi.
Hello.
How's everybody?
Good. It's like super hot here. That's the weather like everyone is.
Yeah, I feel like summer here in New York too.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
There we go. Okay, moving it over here.
Ooh, nice haircut.
I desperately needed one. It still sticks straight up. It's still, my hair still sticks straight up. So they couldn't fix that. But there's less of it now.
You have so much hair.
Adam's maybe able to make it. I'm recording.
Okay.
Show your video.
Maybe then. Oh yeah, we have it.
Yeah.
There's what?
What are you using?
What?
You guys.
Where are we?
You were using a filter or something.
Do you still have a filter on? Can't tell.
I guess we have something. I don't know. Ula's always messing around with these settings.
we were playing with them this week.
Oh, there you go.
Wait, but now I forgot where was it?
I think it's in preferences.
No, it's in settings.
Yeah.
Yeah, here.
Yeah.
I need that one.
Okay, there's so many. But this is so fun. He looks bad. I think the person who speaks gets that.
Oh. Yes.
Vivek had it for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're waiting. Okay, Calvin's here.
Heyo.
What's
Yay.
up? Grab this. Adam was icebreaker, was he?
Oh yeah?
No, I'm asking. I don't know who was the icebreaker.
No.
Oh, I got it this week.
Okay, cool. We'll have to mess with the rotation because Adam seems like he might be able to.
Oh yeah, I saw his email, but I couldn't read it. What he said, he's not gonna make it.
Yeah, he said
Yeah.
he's. He mentioned this last week that he with his other stuff is a little tricky for him. So let's see.
Okay.
We connected about it earlier in the week. And yeah, he seems like he's got a lot on his plate.
Let's see. Yeah, so tonight I'm facilitator and
Right.
Oh, okay, cool.
Cool.
your minutes taker, right?
Yes. Jennifer, what's up?
Yeah.
That's the icebreaker.
Do we want to start? Is Russell going to make it? Have we heard from Russell?
I think he'll make it. He has that situation where sometimes it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So a little late, so.
So like, we can start with the icebreaker, I'd say.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I had to Google icebreakers because I like ran out of all my I couldn't think of any. But icebreaker this week, favorite book you have read?
Whoa.
I know. It's like a good one and a hard one. I'm still not really sure. I think I'm just gonna stick to fiction because I think that makes it a little easier for me. I mean, you can do whatever you want. And I think Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Has anyone read that?
Oh, wow. No, I haven't.
That's a good one.
Wow.
It's nice and short and really, it's like good British humor. So
yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Can you say that again, Jennifer? I didn't hear you. What did you say?
Yeah, that's a really good one. There's whole series of the
I've only read, I think, 2 of the series. Yeah.
at the end of the
Yeah. Erika, you ready?
No, I'm not ready. But I was I love books, but one that I really enjoy also fiction is like a story about a whale, and it's like seen through the eyes of the whale. So that was nice. But yeah,
Oh, cool.
it's
It's a
tough
story of,
question.
it's the story of what?
Of a whale, like when they were, I love whales. So like when there was like a lot of like whale hunting, and so he's like seen through the eyes of, like told by the whale.
Oh, cool.
The book is
Okay.
told. Yeah. Okay. So next, Calvin.
All right. Favorite book. I'm gonna say the book Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty. Taught me about networking. I took it as like an elective course in college. It was a interior design course, and it had almost nothing to do with interior design. And that was one of the books that he had us read, and I ended up loving it. And I've reread it a few times. It's all about just like keeping connections warm and talking to people and keeping tabs on them.
What's the title?
Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty.
Mm.
It's a neat one. It's a neat one. Ula, why don't you go?
Well, for me, it's hard. I have a long memory, but I really loved Harry Potter. It's not my the favorite, but nothing else comes to my mind right now. The very favorite one, but I really loved Harry Potter, and I was reading it as it was coming out. And I think I watched the movie after that like 5 times each one. But I read the series only once in Polish, and I would like to read it in English. Jennifer?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Broken up a little bit.
Waking up a little bit.
I'm using a book, like first novel that I read that was really, I thought, a great novel. I thought, oh, it really opened my mind to reading. It was 1984 by George Orwell.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've seen that recently in the bookstore last week.
Classic.
Who's next?
I guess
Is
it's
it-
me.
Is it just you? Yeah. Just you, Vivek?
Uh-huh.
I don't know why, but I'm like, maybe just because we just woke up like 5 minutes ago. I'm like totally drawing a blank. I'm just gonna say a book that I read relatively recently that I really liked, because I can't really think of anything right now that I'm loving, which was Altered Traits. It's about meditation. It's about the impact of how certain types of meditation, not all meditations, but certain types of meditation can actually literally alter your traits, not like alter states, but alter your traits. And it's very like it's super scientifically backed like book. It's not like they dive into like they did a meta-analysis on like lots of different meditations. So it was very interesting.
Fiction was supposed to be fiction.
Was it fiction? Oh.
Oh no, it didn't have to be.
It was just that Brad. Yeah.
Okay.
I could only, I had to limit myself because I couldn't. It was too much for me to handle.
Yeah. Not my favorite choice for some reason. I just can't. Yeah, I'm slow today.
It's a tough question.
That was a tough one.
Yeah.
Tough one, yeah.
I thought it'd be good still.
Yeah, but it's good.
It's good. It's good.
Maybe we can have like a second favorite book at a different time.
And often
I should have broken it up so we could have done like, favorite nonfiction this week, and we can reuse it later.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go through the agenda. 1 second. So it's an icebreaker, 10 minutes. We did it right on time, perfect. And then we have Vivek is gonna share the organization feedback with us, and that's 15-minute frame. We have a 15-minute frame for that. So go ahead, Vivek. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Let me just read the whole thing.
Yeah.
Uh, so proposal for shortened Zoom meeting, additional digital meeting, 15 minutes, assign next steps, or come to a decision regarding this proposal. Then we're going to go through the two last boxes in the business model canvas, and we have 20 minutes to do that. This is choose top answers for feasibility study. And then we are going to talk about the feasibility study, 40 minutes. Talk through and introduce the feasibility study, talk about other feasibility study attempts. And then at the end of the meeting, we have 10 minutes to suggest items for next week's agenda. And then 5 minutes for action items. And then 5 minutes to share how the meeting went. So if you would like to add an item to the agenda, you can do it now, or maybe it's a pretty tight agenda, I would say.
Yeah, we just I want to be clear. I'm just pulling this up. So there's the feasibility study, right? And then am I also presenting something? Oh, yeah. Okay. Talk through. Okay, sorry. I see. Yeah. I don't think the feasibility study is going to take 40 minutes in retrospect for me to like talk about it, but because it's just like a high level overview. But I wanted to introduce two things that should be a little bit quicker. Talk about, I know this is going to sound crazy, I'm going to bring this up, but it's good news, hopefully, is shared objectives. And I also wanted to talk about finances.
So when would you think it would be a good time?
I
Like
think shared objectives, hopefully it should take somewhere around 5 minutes. And the shared objective and the finances, that'll take about 10 minutes. And I think I think that'll like fit into the time slot we have for the feasibility study. Like, I don't think I need 40 minutes to
okay, when you're done with whatever you're gonna share with us, then you can squeeze in those two. Okay, so okay, great.
It's really just 40 minutes of Vivek time.
Yeah, basically. I'm just gonna, you guys can like, turn off your cameras and, switch off your speakers.
If everyone can mute, just, and make it a little easier.
Yeah, it's like relaxing music.
It's the Vivek podcast.
Yeah.
God, sorry guys.
Open it here.
Sorry.
No, it's
Speaking of which, I'm starting it off too. So, should I get into the organizational feedback?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is just in regards to the two initiatives that Erika and myself kind of presented a few weeks back. If you guys, or maybe a couple months back now, a little over a month. The two things were the weekly forms to fill in, just like your general times, and if you feel like you're, meeting, your own expectations of, your commitment to the team, that weekly form, and then the monthly feedback forms for the people that you gave feedback and what you got. So just when we initially kicked these off, we agreed that we'd come back to them about a month to get feedback and see how people felt about the form. So this is just like a check-in about them, asking how did people feel about the feedback forms, like giving feedback and then getting it? Did it feel okay? Did it feel like, did you want like any changes on, let's just talk about the monthly form, the like giving feedback and then getting it. Was that process good? Do you want changes? Erika and I had a change we want to suggest, but let's like just start off by talking about that form openly. Any thoughts?
I actually didn't even read mine. Like, how do we do that? I actually went there today and
Okay.
I went to mine,
Okay.
but that was like to give me the feedback. I didn't even know where to find it. I mean, I didn't proceed with like looking for it,
Mm-hmm.
but I gave it, but I really don't know like how you are
Yeah.
supposed to go there and find it. Or
Yeah, we mentioned this, but I'm gonna share my screen and show people how they can do it. It's a little confusing the first time, so let's see. Try. Okay, and then feedback forms. Okay, and then so there would be the steering committee feedback form for me, and any of you guys have your own. Calvin will add you from the next one. You would just go to yourself, right? And then you would click on
here.
responses.
Oh.
And then you can see the responses you got.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So, and then same thing for Adam or Connie or anybody else. They can just do the same. And also one other thing you could do, which I would recommend, and I mentioned this, is that you can on the responses, click here. You can hit this button here and get email notification for new responses. So then when you get them, you'll be notified that you've gotten the feedback.
Whoever wrote mine, I will read it. Thank you. With a little delay.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there was a little confusion. We shared some information on Miro, and I know sometimes these things get lost in people's tasks. So that's why part of the reason we wanted to check in too, just to see like, did you even get a chance to read it? Like maybe you missed it. So I know I got my feedback, and it was helpful for me, and I'm working on some of these things. But hopefully you guys got a chance to read yours. Anyone else? Jennifer, Brad.
I haven't read mine yet. I'm glad you did this because I didn't know to do that.
Oh, great.
Cool.
But also, like one more thing I think, yeah, definitely every month, that's too often for me because it took like half an hour to write that. So every 2 months would be better because you suggest that?
Oh, so that's funny thing you're saying that. So yeah, that's the other thing that Erika and I wanted to propose to the team to vote on and see if you guys or get a feedback on, which is like whether I think it might be wise, though we proposed originally to do it monthly, to maybe do it every other month, especially because you're going to get 2 feedbacks every other month potentially. So it's not like you're getting a good amount of feedback on what we're now proposing every other month basis. So yeah, I don't know if that's cool with you guys, or if you want to keep it monthly, we can talk about that too. So.
Yeah, so like if you have a comment, like a suggestion, we can do it like here, or like we can reach consensus using the chat also, unless you have a different proposal, like this chat right now. So if you think we should go ahead with doing it every other month, or if we should keep doing it at all, or
Yeah, that too. Yeah, like what's Brad, any thoughts?
Should we leave it in the chat, or what do we want to do?
Well, we just wanted to say before that,
just feedback. Okay.
Hear your input on it. I know Jennifer didn't get a chance to read hers.
Yep. I think yeah, I think once a month. I think once a month is actually better. I think just to get in, I think 2 months is a little too long to have like a rhythm to it. I feel like you want to have some sort of like have like a
more regular cadence.
yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it. Like I guess my feedback was very positive, and it was good. But I think we want to get over that first hump. I think that's going to be normal for everyone to be like, oh, everyone's doing very well, and these things did really well. And to get to a little more substantial, a little more like
Thoughtful.
not as positive, more open up about like how you really feel. I feel like it's really tough to start out giving like really honest feedback to people. So I feel like if we do it, once a month over a couple months, we'll kind of get used to.
Yeah.
When y'all filled this out, was there a rubric? Was there kind of like a
There are a couple of questions. What are the questions?
I can also.
No, I don't remember actually.
I can show mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's very open. It's
very open.
Yeah, you basically write your name and just your feedback.
So you can see, you just give your name and you just provide thoughtful feedback. You have for Vivek this month, and just imagine you're getting this feedback and try to be considerate about how you express your input, be concise, clear, helpful, and share both positive and constructive input. And and also like right here, just in the top, this form is designed to help us learn to grow and hopefully bring out the best in our abilities. This isn't a tool for punishment. Instead, we should see this as as a source of personal development and recognition of our efforts each week. Yeah. So it's more like just an opportunity, as I like to say, like as friends, but like try to grow. Not as like, oh, this is your one time to get Calvin for that thing he did, 3 weeks ago or something like that. No, it's more like help each other grow.
It also like
what's up, man? Welcome.
Hi, Russell. It occurs to me that we can do it like mandatory every 2 months. But if you have something you want to share with someone, you can like just do it. You use the form to like either like positive or constructively. Like you can use the form. Like feel free to use it whenever you want to. But like I would say that definitely do it like as a team. Either we decide it's every month or every other month to make sure everybody gets feedback regularly, and it's important to practice both giving and receiving. So that's like why we decided to do this in the first place. But it could also be used outside that time frame if we find it necessary. That's another
good idea. Like if someone wants to give between, they may send it. If they think that this would be useful for someone, they can send it. But otherwise, to be honest, for me, it's not unnecessary more than every 2 months. But that's my personal. Like the 2 months go so quick, and we do so many other things between it. I think that's sufficient, but that's very personal.
So
I think if it was every 2 months, it would be we should do like more feedback. Like it'd be like a longer. Like, do you think you'd want to take more? Should it be expected to take more time on it? Like you said, you took you like half an hour. I mean, that's awesome, but I could see how that would be tough to do like once a month.
I think that's a long time. I don't know why, but it took me half an hour, so I think it's kind of a lot.
Yeah.
I try to be very thoughtful.
So I'm just gonna just try to quickly get Russell up to speed so that he can also give his input on this. So Russell, we're just talking about the feedback forms, the 2 of them. Right now we're just like isolated, focusing on the feedback forms for each other. And I showed people there was some confusion about actually how to read your own feedback. So I showed how to do that. I don't know if you got a chance to read the feedback you got, if you didn't and you don't know where to find that after the call, I'm happy to show you where to find it. But love to get your input on what is currently the monthly feedback forms that we give each other. Erika and I have proposed to make it every other month, still giving it to 2 people, but every other month, and just trying to maybe spend a little bit more time than maybe if you did it every month, but with the a less frequent cadence. But Brad is he kind of liked the idea of doing it monthly. Yeah, so that's where we're at. Just like to hear your input, good, bad, didn't like it.
Yeah, I thought it was a good experience. I think that it's useful. I would probably second having them less frequent. But I don't know if I would want to do more in depth. So like I feel like what I've wrote was like probably good for a 2-monther. So I don't think that I would want to write that much more. But
I'm curious, would there be like 2 people who would be willing to in the future share their reviews that they found both to be like constructive and beneficial? And that way we all kind of like have an understanding, because we're all kind of like keeping our cards hidden right here, and we're all like talking about like what our cards are. But like, I think if the whole group can see like what are some versions of this that were productive, that were beneficial, this is like what we're looking for. And maybe Russell, if you think the one that you were reading on you was a good like constructive thing, you could explain why this worked for you, how you agreed with it, and how like what did you gain from it, and then that would inform like future writers, like how can I be constructive like that?
Yeah, to be fair, I actually haven't read mine because
Okay.
I didn't actually know where to look yet, to be
Right.
honest. So
Right.
I think I need to catch myself up on the end of this video when
I'm gonna
we
give
get
you
the
tutorial review,
or even the recording would be fine. That's cool too.
Don't worry,
I really appreciate the recordings. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So it seems like we would need everybody in order to make a decision. Everybody would need to look at their feedback. So if they will be too soon to make a decision.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to just take a minute? I mean, how long? It's going to take like 2 minutes to look at the feedback, right?
We are like very
Right at
tight.
the end. Okay.
And
Yeah, I think I think because sometimes the feedback can take some time to digest. I wouldn't want you to like rush it right now to consume it.
So could our first action item be like read your feedback and give it a thought, and next meeting we can actually reach consensus on the frequency of this form. Yeah. Okay.
That's fine.
Great. And Vivek, do you want to talk about the self-reporting form?
Yeah. 1 second. Yeah. So the weekly self reporting form, that one we've seen less regular engagement with. I think folks have missed them in the past. I guess maybe it gets mixed up in the in the emails, or people forget or whatever. So we wanted to get a gauge how people felt about that form, and trying to keep in mind that this form has a particular purpose, which is like to keep track of like who's been involved at what times and when, and also to get a gauge of like just approximately like how much we're working, so that later down the road when we are later trying to compensate the steering committee, assuming that we're going to compensate the steering committee or those who want to be compensated, like if you don't want to be compensated in the future, then that can be decided, but assuming that folks here want to be compensated, and in the future when we have the profits to do that, this form would help us keep track. And I think right now, like for example, Adam is a good example of this, right? So Adam is taking maybe the next couple of weeks off. He may be taking, who knows? He may not come back if his his new project doesn't allow for it. But if he does and he takes like 3 weeks off, now we would have some data, a trail of information where it'd be like, oh, like he didn't fill anything out. He clearly didn't participate in this time, and we have some information on it. So, so the question I'm posing to everybody is two things. A, how is that form? Has it been annoying? Did you guys want to change anything about it? Or do we want to get rid of it all? And if so, what would we replace it with? Or is it fine? Is it perfectly good? And maybe we need a new way of just reminding each other that like we need to fill out this form. So I'm just sort of putting that out there and hoping to get some input on it.
I think it's fine, this form, but sometimes I just forget. So maybe we could just have it always like in we could like add the link to this to it, either with the follow-up or on Miro, with the meeting, like with the action items, or somewhere there it can be there that the people for me with otherwise like I did mine for last week today because I forgot.
Well, I think it has been done. I think people have been sharing the link on the follow-up emails. At least I've been reminded that way. But maybe we can think of like maybe before joining the meeting, like at least fill out if you forgot, we can think of
Okay.
like another reminder in the middle of the week or but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I.
Yeah, do you think it'd be appropriate to call out the people who hadn't filled it out when we're like confirming the next meeting?
Right.
I forgotten to fill it out.
I mean, I forget a couple weeks, I'm sure.
I think an email that goes out that just says the total number that have been submitted. So like if 8 of 9 have been submitted and the person who knows that they haven't filled it out reads that, they know who they are. They know they're the one who's missing. And then it doesn't like call someone out because it's just a slip of the mind, but it at least like jogs the memory one more time.
But then who would do that? Would that be the facilitator's sort of job? Like the facilitator for this week would make sure that, until the next meeting is done, or until the next meeting takes on, that is that an action item for that facilitator?
Yeah, for instance, like before I send like when I send the meeting reminder email, like Calvin sent it this afternoon, I can send, oh, we have like that's it, 8 out of 9 forms or something like that, and then without pinning anybody, we could that could be like the last reminder for the week. I mean, you can always fill out for the other weeks, but ideally.
Yeah, you can always fill out in the past too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know. Just reminder emails too much because it's like it comes the same day of the meeting, no?
Yeah.
I have notifications off, so unless I really go there and I see it, I open it. But I mean, if other people want it, it's fine. But for me, in that email, it's kind of purposeless.
Is there a way to see like past submissions and stuff like that?
Yeah. I mean, all this stuff is open. I mean, if anyone wanted to read each other's feedback forms, they could too. I mean, this is part of the sort of the transparency of the group, and we can always change it later. But right now, the form is totally open. It's in the shared drive. If you want me to show you how to go find it, I can do that. 1 second.
Just to be mindful of the time,
Okay.
maybe we can find like a way to
It's right here. So this is the weekly self-reporting form. Yeah, you can just find it here.
Actually,
you
the
just go to
response
the
page is really interesting. I just clicked on it,
response page,
and
yeah.
it'll tell you like
Yeah.
how many people did it per week and what the
Okay.
responses were.
Before.
I don't want, yeah. I think we should, yeah, we can totally.
And it
do
kind of
that.
calls us out, everybody.
Mhm.
I at least feel good that I'm not the only one who only did it once.
I think actually in some ways we need to. I can see my. Well, this is me once, but then it's me here. I clearly like wrote my name differently, so I was like thinking maybe we need like a drop down menu
Okay.
instead, so that the yeah. But anyway, this is a. Yeah. So I'm assuming that folks we're still using the form, so we're still trying to figure out how to
Remember.
So maybe we can.
Have a reminder on the Slack.
Yeah, I think, yeah, some sort of reminder. I mean, we could also, everyone could just set up a, can you still hear me? I'm getting my computer just told me my internet was bad. Okay. You know, everyone could just set up like a, you know, like a event in your calendar or something too. It's, if we don't want to, you know, set something up in Slack. I don't know if it's necessarily something we should like put another thing on the facilitator.
Yeah, I don't think so.
If that makes sense. Yeah,
So much.
okay.
You're right, Lisa. There's a lot of things facilitator has to do. So
Yeah.
maybe we this week in general, our first action item would be related to both forms. Catch up with the self-reporting forms that you haven't filled out, and think of a way that you will remember to do it each week. And share your tip with the group next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So. Okay.
Okay, so that's forms. Is that where are we all okay with this?
Is that cool, Jennifer, Russell? Is it like we're sort of like tabling a little bit this discussion?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Okay. Vivek, you wrote the action item.
And no one has any real opposition to keep that form, right? I just want to also make sure that that's like that form generally is fine as it is right now. Or
Yeah.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So next, we have the proposal for a shortened Zoom meeting, and I'm muted. No, I'm not.
You're good.
Sorry. So that would be Brad and Calvin, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, thank you guys.
All right. I'll share the
Yeah,
screen.
do you want to just share yours and we'll
Yeah.
that'll probably be easier.
Is here. Ooh, suspense. There we go. All right. We practiced this a little bit, so we'd like to try to get through it quickly, and then we'll take responses and discussion at the end. If you have a burning question, we'll pause, but we'll try to just fly through. So break ground in less time is the enticing kind of punchy title I gave this. It's a potential benefit of this proposal. I think we'd all like to get to our goal of opening just a little bit sooner. And that's one potential benefit among others. What are we talking about? We can change how we utilize when and where we meet, and there might be more progress per week towards our goals by doing that. Can I use my keyboard? Nice, I can. All right. So why change the current system? Our live meetings are a great thing. I don't think they're bad at all. I think they are a great thing. And it's where we get to see each other. It's where we get a lot of good group tasks done. But there's also a downside to this being like our primary way of meeting. And that's the stuff like there's a lot riding on our live meetings. That time is very, very precious. So we want to utilize it the best we can. It's the only time we all meet in one area, one place to exchange information. It's susceptible to group glitches like Zoom servers being down. That would definitely like put a hamper on a meeting. Individual tech glitches, you've got like, you can't connect to Zoom, your internet's down, your your phone's not working, your PC is doing an update at an inopportune time. Then there's stuff like schedules and ailments. So some of you may only have 9 to 5s where you're in the clear. You never have to pick up a shift late at night. But my old job as a tennis instructor, I would sometimes pick up a shift, and there wasn't much I could do. And of course, being sick, you miss the meeting. Yeah, you can go back and watch it on YouTube, but you're also not there to give input, and that's a long time in between a missed meeting to not have someone's input. So we might want to have other places where we can have their input and they can still participate and not go such a long span without having been part of the group. And that's if a meeting doesn't go smoothly for whatever reason, that does set the tone for a while. So maybe there's too much dependency on meetings and we could be underutilizing that precious time. So we want to easily cover more ground per week, more interactions, more exchange of information, and have a backup place for meetings if the big live meeting doesn't go as perfectly as we want it to. How can we do that? So we're going to try to utilize one message board, that's Slack. We're going to take information, big chunks of information, and have processing time to mull it over to get some quick clarifications. You can do fine tunings on ideas and bring up stuff outside of the live meetings. And then at live meetings, you can have deeper discussions. You've already thought through kind of the implications of something. You've slept on it, which I think is really important sometimes, sleeping on an idea. And then there's more meaningful progress at your live meetings. You're having that healthy discussion rather than digesting information and kind of reacting quickly. So this is our current setup, and what we do outside of live meetings is primarily action items. I tried to make what we do in our live meetings, like the more time taking up ones or the more present ones take up like our bigger typefaces here, but there's a lot going on in our live meetings. And what we're proposing here is that there be certain items that are better utilized outside of the live meeting setup. And that will make it so that like if a live meeting doesn't go down perfectly, well, there's still some progression happening throughout the week. And it also maybe better utilizes the live meeting setting for that interactivity, for the group tasks, and for the in-depth discussion, that healthy discussion that I have listed there. And I think that's it for my slides. We're on to Brad.
Yeah, do you want to hold on? Do you want to keep sharing your screen?
Yeah, oh yeah, I got
There's
you.
only a couple more. Okay, cool.
Yep.
So yeah, so we wanted to dig into the numbers a little bit. So we looked at the last, I think I went back 5 meetings and broke out how many times we did, we broke it, how many times we did something for 5 minutes, how many times we did something for 10 minutes, 15, each of those there. So you see, we peaked here at like 20-minute blocks, but we also had a bunch of 10s, and kind of goes down. There's only 1 30-minute, 1 40-minute. That 95 was when we were talking about the business model canvas. So I think what we're trying to say is that I think the ideal meeting is where we have stuff in the beginning. We do an icebreaker, agenda review, we break it up into larger chunks of time. We try to cover like maybe 2 things and have big 45-minute chunks to like really have like a deep discussion about something, and then wrap up, and then like that's the meeting. I think that worked out really well with the business model canvas when we kind of had like we filled the whole time talking about one topic. I think everyone kind of agrees we covered a lot of ground there. And pushing some of that other stuff into Slack and doing that, kind of spreading that out through the week. Jump to the next slide. I guess the way we propose to do this is, I guess, so these are kind of the benefits of like, if we're putting this stuff in Slack throughout the week, you get to absorb the proposals more, like whenever you want. You get some time to think about it, ask some questions beforehand, and then you're kind of coming in ready to talk about it. Everyone is knowledgeable about the content once we are in the meeting. and we can have like a big discussion. We can have like a better full discussion about it. So yeah, this is a great line Calvin thought of. Do these things, we can go from inchworming progress to more momentum keeping, higher cadence steps. So posting, comment, reacting in Slack. And then we'll go next slide. And live meetings, less time giving info, more time exchanging thoughts, and more time on hitting tasks. I think we got more. Overall, we want to do more time to contemplate what we're working on. More time interacting, since we're like putting more stuff into Slack, we're kind of interacting with each other throughout the week in Slack. And hopefully we're hoping this turns into more progress as we're taking on these bigger chunks of things during the meetings, face to face. We have that high visibility. So that's it. What do people think?
Yeah,
Initial thoughts.
Can you hear me, everybody?
Yep.
Great. So yeah, I was I liked how you broke it out. It seems like you kind of followed the what Vivek and Erika kind of showed on the proposal, and it seems like
That's
all
what
of
we're
those
trying.
yeah, it seems like all of those things have been kind of addressed, which is nice. I feel kind of prepared to like shoot for this if other people were receptive as well. So because it seems like we could potentially bring it our longer meetings down a half hour if what I'm reading was correct, and then try to have other types of meetings, the Slack sort of type, inside of Slack instead.
I think there's a lot of potential for that too. Yeah.
At the same time, basically.
Yeah. I think in general, it makes the meetings more flexible, and we're not trying to shoehorn so many things into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like the idea of to digest proposals and think about them, like do your own research if you need to. We will only need obviously to commit to reading each other's information that we're sharing on Slack, and confirming, like I asked this week, please leave a comment or reaction to like as a proof, you can say, that you went through it. That would be the only thing that would need to be done. We will need to commit to actually doing this, so it will work. And another thing is that sometimes you can share information with the document, but sometimes you just want to talk about it. But it would be good to like have some like background information and then share your input on the meeting, and with not sharing so much information. So I think I like that part.
Yeah, and when we compared like current system to proposed system, there were the two columns of at live meeting and outside, and there was proposal presentation still in both columns. So we just thought some proposals might be, if you know what you're proposing, it might be better in Slack, and that maybe most of our proposals are done in Slack, but you can still have the occasional, especially if it's a more interactive format type presentation, you can still have them in our live meetings.
Vivek, Ula, Jennifer.
I'm in favor. I think it's great.
Yeah, I agree. I think we can go smoothly with the meetings via Zoom. We are prepared and slept on it, and we will be like more connected to it if we have to check Slack regularly. So I definitely, for it. It's great.
Okay. So something Calvin and I were chatting about is how much structure we want to give to this. Do we want to create like a template for proposals that we're going to put into Slack, or should we just leave it open? We decided to like kind of push that back and not decide it for this presentation. How do people feel about that? Should there be like a strict requirement for putting in proposals that we're going to talk about, or should it just be like, you know, post something when you think of it and we can discuss it and then bring it up in the meeting?
I want to respond to that real quick, because part of the conversation we were having was like, we wanted first to show you guys the benefits of it, and based on like the agreement, there would become this assumption where Slack is where stuff is at. There's going to be stuff on Slack that's important for this upcoming meeting, and that would create its own incentive to like build Slack into your week and make it somewhere that you check on a regular basis. Whereas if we put rules first, that might be something that's kind of like a turnoff. Maybe a certain rule set doesn't fit your needs as much. So we were liking just, can we convince everyone that Slack is where stuff is? If we all believe that that's where some stuff is and where it's utilized, then it builds its own like use case. Like you guys would want to go there versus, we're making like a top-down rule and saying like, oh, you'll enjoy this rule that we made for you that you have to go here and do this thing. But I'm not opposed to it. Sometimes a like some sort of check-in system might help me make sure I do it that week. So I'm not opposed to it. Just there is a potential that just the incentive alone of there's stuff there, and if you build it, they will come kind of thing.
Yeah, so in theory, yeah, I think I like this proposal. And I think I would, be open to, personally, I'd be open to, beta testing this and seeing if it is helpful, if people are responding and consuming information. Yeah, and I hear your point. That's interesting. Like, instead of setting like tight rules, just seeing if people come and what happens, and trying to just naturally encourage that behavior.
Maybe I don't know.
But my only fear is, like I guess I just haven't seen, Slack engagement in general. Calvin, you and me were just chatting about this earlier. Like, you can get like lost, messages can get lost, and I think so. I think that's like a real fear for me, or not fear, just like I think there's a decent amount of data to show that. So, so how do we address that? But maybe like if we make Slack the center point of like this team, then that'll be avoided to some degree. I think there's a real concern around like content consumption, meaning like when you have this like time slotted for 2 hours on Zoom, people come in, they have this mindset, I'm going to pay attention for 2 hours and cool. But when you, like a Slack chat can get, if you miss like a day and it's a lively discussion on something and you show up the next day, like it could be a lot to like, I see a wall of text and like feel like you have to consume all that. And I fear that like that could be a boundary for people to like read it. Once again, like maybe this is just part of the experimental process, and we see if it works, and we go week to week and try. And
So when I used to work at Remind, we posted our RFCs and our proposals into Slack, but it was typically written outside of Slack. So it was written like either in Google Docs, or we used a thing called Quip. And those can kind of, when we would have communications inside those, it was a lot easier to track the conversation. So like instead of seeing a whole wall of text of people talking about the RFC, instead you would see it actually in the document where people were proposing edits or people were writing comments in there. And then that was a lot less to digest. than seeing like a huge story scroll by and being like, I can't go back. Like I don't have time to go back. So, and what's nice about that is you're still building your identity outside of one particular thing. You could always print off all those documents, and that's like your business, right? So,
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so some of it could be kind of outside of Slack, but you post to Slack like initially when you create it.
Yeah, exactly. You would post it to the channel, and then you would do your meeting outside of Slack, kind of like it would actually be done in that document.
Yeah.
But that depends on how detailed you'd want to get.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Russell, you meant how detailed you want to get in the document or in Slack?
Yeah. Like how detailed you do want to get in your feedback before actually going to a meeting and talking about it in person. So like you might be like, I want to talk, like I want to address this part, and then like maybe we'll meet to do that, or it could be more in detail. You could write a response and then actually have a discourse there too, if that's what you're more comfortable with. So
I was just gonna say, I like the way Brad and Calvin summarized what went on the Slack. Like, I tried to read that document, and it was a little bit of a long read, but it's nice to have it all summarized for us in the meeting.
Yeah, the document kind of ended up being more of a brainstorm almost, because we kind of just kept putting stuff in there.
I think that's actually
turned it into slides.
Yeah, because I felt like I was prepared to hear your conversation today because I had read the Slack stuff, right? So I was already prepared what you were going to say, because I already kind of saw some of your data and like what your back and forth, which was kind of cool for me.
Yeah, so I think part of it is too that I don't think we're trying to like set a pace of trying to push us, like Slack shouldn't try to push us forward. It's like if you see there's a wall of text and you can't get through it, then we'll still talk about it in the meeting, right?
So one thing I like this in theory. Again, I keep saying that, and it matches to I don't know if you guys, what's the name of this? One of you guys might know. It's like there's this teacher on YouTube. He's been Khan Academy. Yes, Khan Academy. Okay. The Khan Academy, a long time ago, it's like a YouTube channel, or now it's like a whole website too, where like this guy at his house was doing all these school lessons. I forget for what grades. I think like a wide range of grades. And he was doing them on YouTube, and then it became so popular that he created this website, and he was like working with school districts. And long story short is that it kind of like for certain school districts, basically like the whole school model was like flipped upside down. So the lesson was consumed, most of the lesson was consumed at home, and then the homework was done in the school with the teacher, so that if this like students had trouble, they always just had the teacher or their own classmates to ask questions for. But like a lot of the information was digested at home, so that when they came to the classroom, they were able to quickly do the homework. And kind of to like what Russell was saying is like he consumed a lot of the information via Slack and the Google Doc, and then he was kind of like prepped and ready for this meeting right now. And I think that's really true. Like, and I think that's great. I think the key is like, making sure as a team we consume, whatever the presenter presents, in Slack, and having, I think, just being mindful. I don't know how we're going to do this, and maybe just kind of like leaving it open for now, or maybe we do set some rules. It's like, how much do we present to the team via Slack, right? Because like Calvin might have something this week, and Brad and me and Jennifer, and it's like, okay, then that could just be too much for all of us to consume. I would also worry about that, right? We could just start stuffing so much in a given week, and so maybe do we need a Slack facilitator per week? I kind of like that idea. Is that like a rule that we,
I don't know. I think when the Eureka strikes, you kind of want to talk about it, but like I'm usually pretty reserved until I have something I feel like I want to share. So like I probably wouldn't be contributing that much at first until like I could see the ball rolling on something, and then I would definitely propose something and get way more dirty and involved.
You could just react, right? You could
Mhm.
like eyebrow raise thinking about it, or you know, any one of those eyeballs on it kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then for
I opened it.
yeah, frog face, I've been here.
Yeah.
For Vivek's thing, like overload, I think the two meetings can inform the other. So if we're at this meeting and two people are like, hey, I've been having this idea, I've been cooking, I want to put the proposal out on Slack this week, you know, maybe my idea or something can wait, you know, until the following week. If it's something
Right.
about like co-ops, working with co-ops, I have ideas for that, I want to present on that sometime, but maybe I'll wait until 2 weeks from now, kind of thing.
Yeah, I've personally felt like I've been waiting a lot as well. Like I haven't really proposed anything. I've just kind of been waiting. There was that one week when Vivek went on, I think it was holiday, or maybe it was to a offsite, and I presented the granola bar thing, and we all presented something. It was kind of like a show and tell that week. So yeah, but I haven't been proposing anything really, just coming along and being part of the democracy and everything. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so like I think people already are reserved, and so like
Maybe
it's not
what
like we're at a lack.
So you think we would have like a proposal queue that we would go through, and like the facilitator would just like pick like one or two things for each week, or like I don't know, you go three, whatever the facilitator wants to do, and then like we just kind of run through them.
So maybe like what we could do, since like this is preparation for the next meeting, is like if you have a specific action item that you're supposed to present on the next meeting, then that person or that group team presents in Slack that week. Just like sticking to the same agenda for this specific purpose. So like we have like a Slack meeting channel, then like if you're like, for instance, today like this week Vivek would have shared something about the feasibility study because he's presenting this week. Want to share like anything else that we've been doing, like then you can use a different channel like random or any channel that you think is convenient. But as a homework for us to read, it would be like sticking to the agenda and who is going to present, because it's preparing for the next meeting. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, I think it does. I think we'd have to figure out some system for like maybe creating different channels for these different types of content. Like there's definitely, it sounds like there's like ideas we want to put out there, like a propose, like I have an idea for a proposal, but it's not, may not, like there isn't like material built for it. It's just like an idea. And then there's like, okay, I have a proposal and it has some homework and I'm ready to present. And here's stuff that people should do to like prepare for it.
Yes.
Right?
And maybe if you share something and you see that someone hasn't reacted or anything, you just like kind of like and that person and say, hey, what do you think? Or like that would be like your homework to make sure that everybody read it.
Yeah, that's what I actually just came to my mind. Exactly this. Whoever is proposing or sharing could follow who is actually active there, and then they see, oh, two people are completely didn't comment, didn't even put any emoji or something. Then maybe kind of pick them. Hey, do you have an opinion about that? So the person who is sharing, is proposing, is also kind of following up with them, because this person like knows.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Maybe we can practice this week.
Yeah.
The only thing that I would like to say is that I think this would make our meetings more effective and even productive, but I don't think it would make them shorter, because I really think that we need this time. Like, yeah, we will be more prepared. They will be more dynamic because we will have
Yeah.
we're gonna be like consuming so much information. But I really think that we need the time. Like for instance, now we're already halfway and we have a bunch of items ahead of us.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how it affects meetings because it has the potential, I think, to be even for these meetings to be even more draining and more like because if we have these big discussions, it could just like take more out of us, if you know what I mean. I think that's part of the problem of the meetings feel long because it's like it really takes a lot of energy to pay attention this long.
Yeah, and a great example I come back to is like when we did the business model canvas, we were prepared and we just like got to it and it was good. It felt like everybody agreed that it was a good meeting.
Mhm.
And it was so long. So yeah.
But let's test it. Let
Okay.
me see. What we can.
So do you think next week whoever's presenting will post a Slack and have some materials to read to some like prep materials? Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good next step.
Everybody is okay with this?
I think another good step would be to confirm the agenda for next meeting. Maybe this could be something where we all say, like, just as a challenge to ourselves, let's all comment on the proposed agenda, a yay or nay or a suggestion or something to that effect as like as a test run, not as a like rule per se, like, hey, I need this every week after the meeting, but as just to see if we can do it and as an incentive for everyone to go there.
Okay, so I just want to be clear about the action item. So there's the proposed agenda. People either like agree or leave a comment or some sort on that proposed agenda. I think there was something else that was before that.
So yeah, like whoever's presenting next week has to share some like we don't know what our next meeting agenda is yet.
Okay.
You know, we'll say, let's say I want to present something. So I would have to share some info with you guys so you guys be prepared for whatever I am presenting. So I don't speak for like 2 hours. Like I
Will
just
it likely be feasibility study or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. So we don't have like an item yet, but if we do, then it'll go through that process.
It's probably good to leave it open-ended because sometimes it could be like a presentation and sometimes it could be like, here's some, you know, here's like 1 page like description of what of the proposal, or I feel like it could be open-ended. It could be a video or something. I feel like there's a lot you could do there.
And are we going to use that Slack channel that you guys created, Slack All In? Is that the channel for this?
We don't know yet.
I feel like it'd be better to do like a proposal. I mean, I guess I could rename it, but probably have like a proposals channel or something that we keep kind of just to proposals.
Or meeting prep. So like more
Prep, maybe that's good.
Yeah,
One more.
I would just rename the channel.
Yeah, I can do that. Let me do that now.
If there's no like presentation for next week, I've got one that's been in my back pocket, like a really short one. So I'd be happy to just like do it. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So everybody comes up to test this. Yep. Jennifer?
Yes.
Thank you.
Verbal thumbs up.
So we're to go on with our next item, which is the last to fill in the last 2 boxes of the business model canvas.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Let me where's Miro go? Okay. I'll share my screen and I think I had, how did we do this last time? I had
It was on Miro, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a business, okay, there's like this green business model canvas here. Okay, let me share my screen.
We usually had 20 minutes to do this. I think we have a little less.
That's fine. Yeah, we don't need that. Okay, so we have this, and then we also need, oh, we had the spreadsheet. Sorry, I'm like just remembering.
Yeah. Adam and I did one of these, I think, if memory serves.
Was it in this folder? I mean, it was only a week ago, but somehow
I think
there it is.
it's grouping.
Ranking, right?
Want to send it to him?
I think I got it, right?
You got it? Okay.
Okay, so next one, I gotta jump between these tabs. Do revenue next. It's just these two at the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Go into revenue.
Brad, can you zoom in? Can you have a moment?
Yeah, let me, I want to zoom. Go one more. It's 200 too much, okay. Okay, cool. Who does somebody remember who did revenue?
That's me and Jennifer.
Okay. Do you guys want to talk through, I guess,
Yeah,
how you thought about the ranking? And
Jennifer, if you want to also take a lead, I don't want to.
It's up to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so there was a list of stuff. We kind of all put into just general sales, like grocery, household products, prepared food, compost, branded products, gift cards, things like that. That just felt like general sales to us.
okay.
Separated from like membership fees, separated from subscriptions, B2B stuff, which could be all things like sponsorships, franchising, digital advertising, carbon credits. So yeah, I think if you look at this list, I see just general sales being kind of the number one ranking.
Mm-hmm. But do you think
you could potentially do sales before you even, like, maybe people don't become members for, like, maybe our membership's not that valuable or whatever, and they just want to come to our store and buy products. So we put it as just sales.
Yeah. Well, okay. So for the scope of the feasibility study,
yeah,
do you think should we go with the general one like sales, or do you feel comfortable like maybe we should test out membership or subscription? Subscription is just third too. I guess that's kind of for the group.
Yeah.
I think, let me see what the other ones were.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've generally tried to be a little more specific. Although some of these are pretty general too. I mean, retail sales, social media, that's a little open-ended there.
Yeah.
I think, to me, focusing on membership makes more sense for the feasibility study.
Why is that, Brad?
I think in the feasibility study, you would still have to go in and pick one of these. If we were going to do sales, we'd have to go in and pick one of these here. We'd have to say, like, let's do a feasibility study just on prepared foods. We'd have to, or like just on household products. And I think reaching out and saying, like, hey, finding environmentally conscious shoppers and saying, would you go with a membership to this co-op that provides curated sets of farmers producers that you'll find on social media? I feel like it's easier to kind of wrap membership into like a narrative you could go and like pitch to potential customers.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, a member is somebody who's bought into it. They've seen it, they like what they see, and they're like, I'm in. I consider myself part of this organization, this group.
Mhm.
It's compelling. It's so are you saying for like the story, Brad, I'm asking again, are you saying for this story you see membership fitting better, and is there anything to gain from doing something like sales? Because I imagine the team has like arguments for why sales was number one. Is there like it doesn't fit as readily maybe, but is there benefit to seeing like how that works out, how that plays out?
So I could definitely see, I mean, there's definitely benefit.
Okay.
If that, that's probably going to be our bread and butter biggest revenue stream. And I think you could push that. I think it leaves more up to the feasibility, people doing the feasibility study of how you would do it if you wanted to. I definitely think reaching out to customers would be part of that feasibility study and saying like, finding those customers and saying, what kind of stuff would you want to buy, and leaving it open-ended on there for them. I think there's some benefit to that.
We could, I mean, I hear your point, Brad, and I've just been thinking about it. Maybe if we want to stick with the number one ranking, maybe we could say for this version of the business model canvas, zone in onto like grocery and household products.
Okay.
That feels a little bit more specific and would require us to research that, like those two categories in more detail. Are these set of customers going to buy these two kind of product categories from us?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Okay.
In the numbers that we needed to be.
Yeah. Does that sound good for everybody else?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Switch to Mac. All right. Okay. Sound good? Talk about cost structure.
Are you still doing integrating this into the story, or?
Yeah. I mean,
because Vivek was
this one down here.
Yeah.
Oh.
I can do that.
You
Usually I don't have to do everything. I can try to fit this in while you move to
move to cost structure.
Nice.
Jumping over here. Okay, yeah, let me zoom out.
Yeah, and no need to go further, right?
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, nothing much over there really.
Okay. Can everyone still read it? I did zoom out a little bit. I can zoom back in if we.
Yeah, our tags aren't even. We didn't even do tags as well as other groups, so you can just zoom right in on those.
Get this to. No, it's weird. I'm gonna try to get this to wrap, but it's not. Okay. Let me zoom back in a little bit. Is that good? Go 200. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So cost structure. Top one, cost of goods. I think
this was Adam and I.
Yep. I think I think cost of goods is probably going to be the biggest one and probably the biggest variable. So I think that makes a lot of sense as ranking one.
Yeah, this was another like debate of like, is this going to be for all of the businesses, lifespan, or is this going to be for upfront? Because we saw number 4 is like, something in the early on years of the business. So like the first 4 years, maybe even more, marketing would be very, very big.
Yeah.
And perhaps the most important, because people don't know that a brand is offering such a good thing until,
Sure.
yeah. So
You could definitely put, did you put like, yeah, content in there? Like, we could be, content could be really big, like all the educational stuff we've been talking about. So I think we could either go cost of goods sold, where we're figuring out exactly what the actual what the things people are going to buy are going to cost, or dig into the marketing costs for the feasibility study. Does anyone have any opinions either way? Calvin, would you still
lean towards marketing?
Lean more towards marketing? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm about the opposite. I think we need to get a gauge of like the product that we're selling and how much they're going to cost, and get like a decent idea, because that's going to be our bread and butter. And I mean, so and this brings up to a point that I think I was thinking about is, and maybe we don't do this tonight because it's not really on the agenda, and I don't know if we really have the time, is we might want to do, I think it makes sense to do another round of the business model canvas, maybe centered around a different value prop. Because there's just obviously in each of these boxes, there's like lots of important high quality things that we need to investigate, and will be part of our feasibility study and later be part of our business plan.
Yeah.
And definitely marketing, for example, is like an example of a cost structure that we definitely need to do some analysis for, and we would need to show like these banks and other people like the details around. But maybe this time around we don't. It doesn't make sense. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I think the cost of goods one would be a good like grounding thing. I think there's like an episode in The West Wing where the president doesn't know how much a gallon of milk costs, and it's like the ruining thing that like proves that you're disconnected from the layman. For the sooner we know that and kind of investigate it, I think maybe the better off we all are.
Yeah.
So I like investigating that one first.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I agree. Yeah. I think there's a lot of these, the marketing things, there's a lot of stuff we could test. Like, I think it'd be really interesting to do some tests on content and see what kind of content really resonates with people.
Yeah.
But that's not really a cost structure thing. That's like, that's kind of, and that could be like a whole different, a whole project in and of itself. Is anyone against cost of goods sold? Is anyone?
No.
Okay.
I just don't know how to include it into that sentence. I don't know, like it just that I don't know if it really needs to be in there, but maybe it's getting to be slightly.
Yeah, I don't think all of it really needs to.
But we've done a pretty good job. Otherwise, most of the other stuff is kind of like somehow packed in there. But
Yeah.
Maybe we need to meet Shakespeare here to.
I think the wording at the end, it sounds like we have a team of grocery and household goods.
Maybe you can use the word affordable just there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that word would pull a lot of weight, which is okay. Narratively, it's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, maybe we play around with affordable or profitable. Maybe, I don't know.
Does it need a comma?
Because if it's not profitable, then we wouldn't be able to do it, right? So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we can play around with it later. I think we got the gist for now. The sentence is less the key. Just trying to be mindful of time.
Okay.
Do we read it out loud?
Okay.
Sure. Do you want to read it? Well, so I'm trying
Or
to
you
stop
can
sharing
do
my
it.
screen.
We hold the highest sustainability standards while providing a fun experience for environmentally conscious shoppers by researching and evaluating a curated set of farmers and producers appraised by our team of affordable grocery and household goods.
Yeah, to me, it sounds like we have a team of affordable.
Yeah, maybe I have to. Not exactly.
I was trying to see where we should put how to reorganize it, but I didn't get that far.
Maybe if we put instead of we put our team. So then our team is in the beginning.
Our team. Oh yeah, our team. What's the highest grocery and household goods. That's also
grocery
fun.
and household goods should be pushed up.
Yeah, that's what I did, and then it kind of still sounds funny. It still sounds a little fun.
Well, I think it's too.
I have to say it is close though. So if we could, if you all want to keep poking at it, I think that's worthwhile. For sure.
Yeah, well, why don't we poke at it later now, or Russell, you want us to poke at it?
It doesn't
now?
matter. It doesn't matter to me.
I think we have a lot on the agenda, and I would hate to.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We could have a thread in Slack. We could all wordsmith it a little bit.
Yeah,
That's great.
Look at the Calvin pushing his hand.
Let's try it.
I like.
Love it.
Okay. So where should we go next? Vivek doing a second round. Should we do that tonight, or do you want to talk about feasibility study and the other things you want to talk about?
Yeah,
So I can this might be a good segue to go into the feasibility study, and it's by talking about the second round. So as you guys know, right, like this is I think a good, this tied the whole story together. Like we have some, like whether that sentence is perfect, obviously can use improvement, but generally speaking, like what I'm looking at right now is our goal is to provide high sustainability standards while providing a fun experience around grocery and household goods that are so that's like a real value prop that we're going to work towards, and I think that's pretty clear, like how who our customers are and the channels and all that stuff, like all comes together. But we're gonna need to probably go through this again to like flush out maybe some other key activities to other channels, maybe another group of individuals that we're going to focus on. So there's more. I think there's opportunity to do this again, but I think there's definitely some desire. It feels like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I've sort of got a feeling that the team would like to start digging into some of the research of this. And so my proposal is to like start kicking off the effort of the feasibility study, and then come back to this to do another round of it with some experience of doing hard research for the feasibility study. And so I'm gonna kind of just like walk everybody through what the feasibility study means. I didn't like put together a beautiful presentation. Like I wish now that I'm feeling bad after seeing Brad and Calvin's work. But so the way this works, or way a feasibility study works from my research and understanding, is you take the business model canvas and your business, if you think about like what we're trying to do is like in the context of like a book, for example, your business model canvas is kind of like your outline. It's your chapter headers, okay, titles. And your feasibility study is sort of you filling in the chapters of that book as a rough draft, as a first draft, and then what that feasibility study turns into is a business plan, which is your polished book that's like really nice, and you take it out to sell it. Okay. So what we have right now is kind of chapters of this book.
Headlights.
The titles of the chapters, and we now need to fill in the text of each of these chapters. So and what we do is each of these chapters or each of these boxes of the business model canvas, we need to investigate and do research on. So in the like situation of like customer segments, we need to understand, are environmentally conscious shoppers really into this? Like who's really into this value prop? Like we need to like do some research, like Google, find some data, like who are the people that seem to respond to like sustainable products, and just find some information about that. Is it environmentally conscious people? Is there other demographics? And kind of bring some solid information, bring sources to that. And I'm going to show you this also. So I'm going to share my screen. There's a way to do this thoughtfully. And Erika, also just try to keep me honest about timing, if you don't mind.
Yeah, we're pretty tight considering that we wanted to have like 20 minutes at the end to suggest items, create the agenda, and share how the meeting went. But maybe we can do some of these things on Slack if we need to, as practice also. So maybe you have 20 minutes.
Okay, I'll try to keep it tight. So the way we would do it is we believe this is this test card. This isn't the video that Brad sent over about how to do the business model canvas, and this is sort of the next step that we would do to fill in our feasibility study. So we have what you do is you fill in like what we believe that. So we believe that like in this scenario, maybe it's like environmentally conscious shoppers would be into this value prop. Then we verify that. To verify that, we will, and then you'll say like, we'll do some research. We're gonna do a survey, like whatever that is. Get a gauge of how much it'll cost and how reliable that data is once you do that work, and then and measure. So like, what is the data point that we want to get out of it? Let me just triple check that, right? So we measure, what are we measuring from that research? What are we trying to get out of that research? And then we are right if, and then what are we looking, like what is the data point gonna get tell us, and how are we gonna know that if it's correct or not correct? So we would try to fill out one of these cards for basically any one of these boxes. And it doesn't have to be this tight. It can be like, actually might require more information or a separate document, but we would generally go through this methodology. So another box might be a curated set of farmers and producers. Is that an area of hypothesis? That doesn't feel as like much of an assumption. We might need to like focus down on some of these. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, like social media might be like really broad, maybe too broad. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, you could definitely, like, we could assume that we could attract this customer segment through social media. I think that's something you could test.
Yeah, but maybe we should test a particular channel, no? Like a particular
Oh,
social
sure,
media
yeah.
channel. That way we could say, hey, we think, I don't know, whatever it is, like we think Twitter is like the channel, right? The social media channel. And how are we going to verify that? We're going to see, we can say like, okay, well, do these type of customers use Twitter or Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is? That crazy one that you mentioned the other day, Brad. So
My
maybe
Pillow Guy one. Yeah, that's, I mean, that's legitimate.
So that's, and then this would be, this would give us the initial framework. We probably could have our own Google Documents, and then we would use that. These would like be individual pieces in a feasibility study, and then we take those pieces and then work to make it like a cohesive, thoughtful presentation for a business plan. So that's how we go from the business model canvas to a feasibility study and to a business plan. Is that clear, or is that not super clear?
No, I think that makes sense. Yeah. So there's still some refining to do to to go from this to something to actually study.
Yeah.
But most of the work is in like going out and like collecting data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
And then bring it back. Okay.
Yeah, it seems like we might want to refine this a little bit. Yeah, I think you're right. So that we have.
Maybe we can do this. Do you think we have time to do it now? Just like the ones that seem too broad, or?
Well, I guess it might be more important to decide how we would do the feasibility study. Is it a couple people? Oh, Jennifer, sorry, were you saying something?
I was saying we could leave it up to the researcher to refine it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, is that it probably be we should leave it up to them because they're going to be doing it.
So do you think we will divide tonight who's going to research what?
I think that's a good next step. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, well, like what would be like the way to do it? Like we will we will be divided into teams. We will do our research, fill out our card or any of those templates, and then do we have time to share it next meeting, all of us, or like we will say like next meeting these two boxes. I'm really not familiar with the process. So what do you suggest?
My suggestion would be, I think why we, especially for this first round, we're all like probably feeling a little nervous about it. We can like team up again, and we can each team could take one box, and just give it a first round at it, and using that test card, I'll send it out, and using that as a format, and then you can reach out to me too. I'd be happy to help you. Maybe Brad as well. I don't want to volunteer, Brad, but maybe.
Well, I think there's 7 of us here. Is that how many?
Should we use the same teams and the same blocks that we grouped and ranked, since we're like familiar with the terms, and that's something that we decided like as a group, or should we change teams? Well,
one person less.
Yeah,
well, I can help out. I can help out Calvin. I don't mind helping Calvin as well. With me and Jennifer work together, and I can work with Calvin unless anybody else wants to.
I'd personally want to lean. Oh no, I'm totally cool working with you, Vivek. I was thinking about how to divvy up the tasks. I'd personally want to kind of just have people volunteer for a box of that like interests them, and that way they can kind of dive into something that they're more or less intrigued in, and then if somebody needs a partner, we can ask people to like sign on with them if there's no box of interest to you, or just kind of see where people fall.
Yeah, actually, I think it might be easier if everyone just takes a box, and then
Because
it's a
it's
little more
7
clear.
or it's 9 blocks, no?
Yeah, there's 9 blocks, so there's
So
we
maybe
do
someone wants to
2.
do this then.
Yeah. if
Well, I
somebody-
would.
Yeah, I also agree with it.
Yeah. So you just okay? That's fine. Do people feel? Yeah. Why don't we? I think we can do this. Like, yeah. Why don't we each take a box?
we each volunteer.
If you
for one.
want help, you can ping one of us, or I can help, or
Ask on Slack.
ask from
Slack,
someone.
yeah, we much
Yeah,
Slack for that.
On the chat, which bugs interest us. I think there's gonna be some overlapping. That
Also do the same like last time on. Yeah, we can do it.
Calvin suggested that we work on in a box that interests us, so
Yeah.
we can do that.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it.
I was thinking somebody share the screen and just we'll put a post-it note with a name next to it or something like that.
Okay.
There's already a white canvas that the one we use to divide the teams. We can put the different post-its. It's on Miro. It's right on top
Okay.
of.
I mean, suppose 2 people want to do it. Is there any like? Do 2 people do that box then, or?
No. Then they have to agree.
Should we just do it now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do.
Yeah, I'm flexible. I might have one that I'm interested in, but I'll hang back and I'll take, what's left. I want kind of people who have interests or who have like inclinations to that area to go ahead and like dive in. Yeah.
Should we do that so we can read it?
I'm
Okay.
putting the
Now or
post-it
should
notes in
we
now.
do it after the meeting?
I was
We got.
thinking now.
We have time now.
It's 20. We have 20 minutes.
Okay.
No, we have actually like 10, so we can go through like the closing part of the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I still haven't really got a chance to do those 2 things, Erica, that I.
Okay. So
Well, I got
once-
the post-it notes in, so we can everyone just go in and do it after the meeting, or sometime in the next day or something.
Okay, so that's another action item. Okay. To choose your
Yeah.
business model canvas box.
Yeah, it's
Right.
in the.
Can we maybe we all agree to choose your box tomorrow?
By tomorrow.
By tomorrow?
That's good.
Yeah.
Russell, what's up with you, man? How are you feeling? It's good. You're quiet over there.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. I probably just have to like rewatch because I don't really remember what was going on. like do we need to pick a box from the business model canvas, or do we need to pick box from the thing that you were scrolling through on Pinterest?
Oh no!
no.
On the business model canvas, you're gonna pick a box for you to research, and you're gonna use that that system that I showed you on Pinterest to do to guide your research.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
paste this screenshot of somewhere in Slack, that'll be good.
Yeah. I'm gonna send the link to that
Alright.
little template thingy.
All right. Then I can sign off on that action item. I'll try to get it done.
Everyone pick a box by tomorrow evening. Okay. Cool. And yeah, if people have questions, I'm happy to answer questions on how to fill that.
Yeah, definitely.
Research. But just like think of it kind of like I think the best way to put it, even the most simplest way, is like this is an assumption. Each of these boxes are an assumption. How can you figure out ways to data points that back that assumption?
Mhm.
And maybe there's not a good source of data on Google. So does that mean maybe going out and doing some surveys or posting something on Facebook and your social media channels to ask for feedback, or talking to a wide group of individuals and friends to get that information? Ideally, the most specifically significant ways to prove that, as possible. And feel free to be creative. If you want to put like a Facebook ad or like a Craigslist post or something, there's fun ways to do these things. And I'm happy to brainstorm with people to try to figure out ways to do it.
And how much time would we have to do this? Like, should we do it?
We should try to get some stuff input by idea. Like, let's try to make some progress by the next meeting. Like, hopefully we can each do it. I don't. It may not be that, like, for some people it might take too long, but I could see if you're each taking one box, it can be done. Yeah, I don't think it should.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, at least present like where you're at in your
Where you're at.
Okay.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's another action. Everyone pick their own box, and then everyone be ready to share their findings.
So are we sharing next meeting or on Slack so people get familiar?
Well, you have to share some of it on Slack, right? At least to prepare everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some of it, yeah. Okay.
Well, okay.
Well,
Yeah. Okay, so
That sound good?
should I go, Erica? Okay. So two things. Actually, so I'm just realizing there was another thing. These meetings are tight. Wow. I'm gonna defer the shared objective thing. I think that's like an easy thing to present via Slack, so I'd rather do it there. I wanted to talk about instead the Doodle timing. And this feels like really, I'm nervous to present this because we're kind of like maybe moving some of the meeting to Slack. And now what I'm going to propose is that, so the Doodle was filled out either Tuesday or Wednesday at 9 to 10 Eastern was the sort of the best time. For folks that it wasn't clear that if they were available, I checked in with all those individuals and they are good with that time to beta test it. So this would be a test. This is not like we're giving up Wednesday for good for sure. It's just like, hey, let's try it. Let's make sure Ani can come, because that was one of the main purposes of trying to switch it. But there's a couple concerns here. A, we have something really good going for a Wednesday night. You know, it is challenging for me and Ula a little bit, but we've been really productive and it's working. So I'm definitely personally concerned that like it would mess up a nice flow that we have. And secondly, it's legitimately 9 to 10. It wasn't clear that people could do 10 to 11 or 8 to 9. So, you know, we'd be switching from a 2-hour meeting, which is already pretty busy, to 1 hour. And maybe this falls into the thesis that Brad and Calvin presented, which is like, hey, if we move some stuff to Slack, we could have a shorter meeting. I don't know, but I just want to present the facts as I got them and let you guys sort of direct how we do this.
You said it was Wednesday?
Tuesday or Wednesday.
Tuesday or Wednesday. Okay.
Not Tuesday or Wednesday. We can decide what we prefer. Yeah, I don't know how to do it. We could beta test it. We could say like, let's try next Tuesday, 9 to 10, and maybe keep Wednesday in case like Tuesday 9 to 10 just like kind of doesn't feel like it's working, and we have it as a backup, and we can always just keep it for like 1 week. We can keep both meetings, and you know, if it's really productive Tuesday, then we can just all agree to dissolve, you know, the next day's meeting. I don't know. We can play around with it.
Mm-hmm.
So it will be Tuesday 9 to 10 East?
Eastern morning, 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern morning.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I'm down for a test. And either day works for me. I mean, it's the same for me, so.
And then we weren't sure either direction of that one.
Yeah,
That
it was based on the Doodle. It didn't seem like we would only just have like 1 hour, like 8 to 9 and 10 to 11. You know, there wasn't much. Like some people were available, but most weren't.
So we don't know if there's potentially we could start a half hour earlier, or potentially we could go a half hour after, and then this meeting time would be in total an hour and a half. We don't know if that's possible or not.
Yeah, I mean, if I don't know if folks could tell us if 8:30 to 10 is possible, or 9 to 10:30. If you want to give us a thumbs up on, okay, so 8:30 till 8:30 to 10. Give me a thumbs up.
So I could do that.
I could do that.
Okay, so there's Jennifer and Russell. I didn't see.
I can't do that. I can't make it till 9. But...
Not
Okay.
until 9. Okay.
And
Yeah,
then
same.
9 to 10:30.
I can come in later.
9 to 10:30. That would be the other one. Okay, so that. Russell, are you sure, Russell? Because I feel like you're giving me like I don't want to force you into anything. You don't feel pressured. This is
No, I can make it work.
okay.
I can't make that one.
You can't make that one. Okay.
No.
Okay, so let's just keep it to an hour.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it to an hour. How about this? Like for next week, let's keep both meetings on the calendar. We do Tuesday 9 to 10. We see how it feels, and if it's good, if we cover a good amount of ground, maybe we can make Slack work, and like let's try to be mindful about Slack this week, and that particular channel that Brad renamed. And if we find that we need to add another hour, we have this till Wednesday night, and between those two meetings we can decide like we keep the meeting or. These are like maybe we ditch the Tuesday meeting, or we keep it because we're more like alert and sharp in the morning. I don't know, but let's like try. Maybe is that cool?
Idea.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Cool,
So
trying.
Yeah,
next
cool.
day,
You sure, Brad? Oh, so you sure, Russell and Jennifer? I don't want to force this. It's not like this is just a test, beta testing also, or alpha testing, whatever. Okay, cool. Okay, so we'll give it a shot. Okay, cool. I know we're at the 10-minute mark. I'm gonna try to be a little quick on this, but it's kind of important. I've been wanting to talk about it for a couple of weeks now. It's in regards to financing. Brad and Erika have been on this chain of emails with the ICA group with their team member that like also is in charge of or part of the team that decides like who they give loans out to for financing. Super nice guy. I've also forwarded some of the emails to Russell because Russell and I did a couple similar conversation or one similar conversation, so I wanted him to be aware. So I think some folks in this team are a little bit aware, but the long short of it is raising money through external parties like impact funds. I think it's going to be really doable for us. I firmly believe we can raise a good amount of money, and the amount of money that so the team has context. The amount of money that I've been asking about is in the range of to raise from these impact funds is in the range of like $3 million. Okay. And because in my mind, the number that we're going to probably need to raise is somewhere between 3 to 5. But there's a key component to this getting that kind of money. And the key is we're going to probably need to do some kind of Kickstarter to try to like show that we have some traction, that people are interested in what we're offering, and we're going to probably have to raise like $1 million, $2 million in that range. But if we, based on this guy Jonathan's input, whatever we raise, we can get probably 5x that from these credit unions or impact funds and so forth. So if you raise 100,000, you can get 500,000. If you raise $1 million, you can get 5 million. If you raise 2 million, you get 10. Right. So that's sort of the long and short of it. And I've been Erika, Ula, Adam. They know from back in October, November. Like I was talking about this Kickstarter stuff. Like that this would be the key. Like, and this is a big piece for it. And I even presented this in the second meeting to everybody. I was like, we have 3 big hurdles. First meeting we did. Second was like trying not to be a bureaucratic organization. And third was raising capital. And raising capital I see as not as a huge hurdle, but also as an opportunity. If we can do that Kickstarter, if we can raise 1 million, 2 million bucks through a Kickstarter, and plenty of Kickstarters have done that. Plenty of Kickstarters have raised more than that. And they don't have this big team of owners. They're just like 1 or 2 people that are selling a pan or something like that. Not to underestimate anyone's project, but yeah, they've done that with other things. If we can do that for something big like we're trying to do, I think everything else is like downward. It's like it's easy for us. Like it'll be easy running for us because we'll raise a crap load of cash on Kickstarter. We'll have a huge community ready for us and waiting for our stores to open and our site to be launched. It really would be a huge change. And like if we raise $1-2 million, we can get 10 million and we will have the money to do what we want to do. So I just wanted to present this and mention this so that people have this in their mind that is probably going to be something coming up after the feasibility study and around the same time as like the business plan is coming together. Is like we're going to probably want to like prepare to launch a Kickstarter and thinking about that.
Cool.
Thank you.
Cool.
That's good news.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's news. I don't know if
Right.
it's definitely
Promising.
yeah, it's promising. And just one last attachment to it, Calvin, coming back to your book thing about the well thing about keeping in touch with contacts. There's a whole methodology that I shared with the team about doing something very similar.
Oh, cool.
For that big launch event that we did on Jan 26, and I actually thought it would be more applicable for a Kickstarter, and I can talk about that in a later presentation. But it's definitely about keeping our network warm for a big launch for a Kickstarter. So, but I'll save that for another meeting because we have 5 minutes and I think we close things up. So
Heck
Okay.
yeah, though.
Okay.
I feel like this could be do you think there's like a feasibility study in and of itself of fundraising with Kickstarter and
yeah.
I feel like there's a lot to research. You could research other people who were successful at getting that 1 to 2 million, getting to that 1 to 2 million range. What was their social media like? What was their network like when they started? Did they do a video? Did they spend money on a video? I feel like there's a lot you could dig into there.
Yeah, even Vivek has mentioned some ideas and ways to do this. We could definitely.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it. We can call it a feasibility study, but yeah, it's just general due diligence. Yeah, and I would, and we can totally do it, and we should do it. And I've already kind of like put out feelers of some folks that I know who have successfully done these type of things.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it'll be something for all of us to sort of prepare for, or maybe the marketing committee to lead on. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So.
I would like to go through our list of action items, and then based on that, decide on our agenda for next week, and then see how the meeting went. Is that okay? All right. So I have the first action item to read your feedback and decide how often we want to fill out that form. Also, make sure you are all caught up with your self-reporting forms and think of a way in which you can remember to fill it out each week. Okay, then we have, we are supposed to comment on our next week's agenda on Slack as a test that everybody will be active on the channel and commenting or reacting to that specific meetings channel that I don't know what's the new name, but
it's now called proposals.
okay, on proposals.
Yeah, I think I can. Let me see if I can just add everybody.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
And then everybody who's going to present next week, which this time is everybody, like we should share on Slack on proposals, or what are we doing for our research this week to prepare for next meeting, so we are not sharing so much information on the Zoom meeting. And then we are also wordsmithing our value prop on Slack. So also, yeah, make sure.
So what was that one?
That we're wordsmithing our value prop.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So also like, yeah, be on the look for that. Where are we gonna do that? In what in which channel?
I posted that in general for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe, yeah, we'll just like, maybe you can pin everybody. So we.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are. So we, yeah, we can share input. And then we are supposed to choose our box from the business model canvas by tomorrow, and prepare our research, start doing our feasibility study in that specific box. The thing, it's only 7 of us tonight, and there are 9 boxes, right? So how is that gonna work?
This might be something that we feel out, like maybe one feasibility study is much easier and that person would opt to do, the leftover one. And then, maybe somebody is finding their feasibility study to be much more difficult. And then, they're going to do theirs for a longer time, maybe a few weeks. So it's another one of those, to me, it's like inherently there's going to be some people who can take on more boxes than others.
Or like the key resources, like the team, like there's not really much to either there for now. Okay, so we'll see tomorrow how it goes. But tomorrow night, see how that, if everybody's chosen their box. So based on that, those action items are agenda for suggested agenda. It would be to to do a second round of the business model canvas and share our research. Or so, what should we do first?
I think we're going to share our findings first. That's what I think we agree to, and then because we may need to do multiple rounds of this business model canvas, or maybe it's one value prop, but like multiple channels and multiple customer segments and things like that. So I think this is like our test run, going from like business model canvas to finishing a feasibility, like our first round of feasibility study, and then I think we'll all have a better feel like how this worked, like what mistakes we have, and then we can do another round of the business model canvas.
And this is for Tuesday, the 1 hour meeting, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tuesday morning. So we kind of lost almost 2 days. Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, there's always gonna be this adjusting time.
Maybe we can talk about this on Slack. It's like what we want to like put into this meeting, because maybe that won't be enough time. Like I think there's plenty of stuff like a cover on a Tuesday meeting, like especially for a test run. Mm-hmm. There's like more to the, like I can even think about like the Kickstarter proposal that I was mentioning. I can like dive into that perhaps in that meeting, and there's some other things. The shared objectives, maybe some other stuff.
Or
they're easy ones to knock out.
At least share like our plan. Okay, so I have this box, and I'm going to do like a survey or something. Just okay. So there's gonna be like 2 agendas then.
Yeah, that was my question. I was going to ask that earlier when we said we were going to keep 2 meetings. I think we should just have the Tuesday meeting to make it easier for the facilitator.
I was just looking up who is the facilitator. I can't find the document.
I'm the facilitator this week, but I'm gonna create the agenda for next week. That's how.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right.
So
I'll do too much 2 days in a row to have icebreaker. When we just did Tuesday, we don't need to do Wednesday. The same. How did the meeting go? We don't need to do it twice. That's already 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll propose 2 agendas.
We'll remember.
And we'll see which one we can vote on them.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and we could also, when we're in Slack, when we start looking at select our box and we know which one we want to work on, and we start coming up with ideas, if one of us seems like we can present, then and there's enough time, then we can present. Otherwise, there might be 3 people who say yes, and there might be 5, and then we say, well, that's all we can do. If there's only 1, then we can fit something else in.
Yeah, it's a good point. Good point. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, I agree with that. Unless people disagree.
Yeah, and
One agenda for all today's.
agenda figuring and tinkering was a suggestion in our proposal today of being something that happens on Slack where, yeah.
You're right. Okay. All right. So
If you're all cool for it.
So the agenda right now, for now, it's whoever can present on Tuesday, present, and then we'll figure out if Wednesday happens, we'll discuss that.
Yeah.
Cool. I like it.
I think we should talk about Wednesday on Tuesday to figure out if, yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Like maybe at the end.
Jennifer, what's your thoughts? Are you cool with all this?
Yeah, I've got down all the agenda, the action items, and I'm ready to tackle them.
Love it.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
okay, so how did this meeting go? Let's see. How does it work? Should I start or should I ask?
Go ahead.
I think it went well. I think we cover a lot, and I'm excited to try this Slack preparation for the meetings, and yeah, I'm excited. Thank you for proposing it and putting it so easily digestible. So next, let's see, Jennifer, how did this meeting go?
I thought it was a good meeting. I'm falling asleep, but I think it's just because I didn't sleep well. Not the present company.
Who should go next?
I go next.
Brad.
I'm falling asleep too.
Okay.
Ula.
Ula.
It went good. I'm always surprised how good it goes for 1 a.m. I'm very busy and good spirits. Yeah, it was very good. Looking forward to seeing how the shorter one works. And Calvin.
I'm left with just like a very strong feeling of like, this is just neat. Like I just love these meetings. I think they're so cool. I mean, we're all just here like super democracy, super help the environment. And like, we are figuring out some like tricky stuff, and you guys all embrace the proposal. You're willing to experiment. And I just think you're a cool bunch. So I like coming to these. On to Vivek.
Yeah, I agree with everybody's sentiment. Just continue to be encouraged by everybody. Obviously, a little sad not to see Adam with us right now. Excited to see Ani come back, and just continue to be super. I think we're gonna do something huge, and we're already doing it right now by just showing up to these meetings and tackling hard things. These may not seem hard, but this is the hardest stuff. I really do believe. So, off to Russell.
Yeah, this meeting went great. I'm happy. Thanks, everybody. And kick it over to Brad.
Yeah, I think it was good. I think it was to hear the finance update. I think that 1 million Kickstarter is like a good goalpost to kind of think about where we need to get to at some point, and to know understand the scope of what what we're targeting. So that was good. There's definitely I definitely feel there's a transition. We're kind of messing with the gears of how we run meetings and playing around with that. But I think, at least for me, I think we're still in a good spot where it's we're everyone's still kind of on their toes. We're not getting stuck at getting too comfortable in the rhythm of weekly meetings. We're still kind of messing with it a little bit to keep everyone awake. was good. I'm excited to see how Tuesday works out.
That's everyone.
Is that? I think that's everybody, right?
That's everybody.
Okay. Thank you guys. See you Tuesday.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Good night.